What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Cinema Corner. Today I'm going to be bringing you a review for Anemone, which has already caused me to re-record my intro 3 times because apparently I cannot pronounce that word. This film is a psychological drama that follows Daniel Day-Lewis as Ray Stoker, who lives in a secluded cabin in what I'd describe as a sort of self-imposed exile. Years ago, he left behind his pregnant wife or girlfriend, I guess I'll just say partner because I'm not sure which. Nowadays, his brother, Jem, played by Sean Bean, is taking care of his partner and son, and in the present day, he decides to embark on a journey to Ray's cabin in the hopes of convincing him to return home. This is definitely a smaller film, not the type of thing that I would generally pay so much attention to, but the significant thing that really drew me to this is that it marks the return of Daniel Day-Lewis after he retired in, I think, 2017 after he starred in Phantom Thread by Paul Thomas Anderson. I do think he is one of the greatest living actors of our time, so I was curious as to why this film in particular is what brought him out of retirement, and that was before that I learned that his son directed this, and they actually co-wrote it together apparently. And oh boy, if this isn't one of the most pretentious, snooze-inducing cinematic experiences that I have ever had, at least in the last couple of years. Let me start out by getting the obvious out. Daniel Day-Lewis is excellent. I don't think this man is capable of delivering a bad performance, especially not in a project that is helmed by his son. Of course he's going to bring his full effort forward. I think it occasionally invokes some very striking imagery. The score that accompanies a lot of the scenes is beautiful, but it is excruciatingly long and glaringly pretentious. I can't ignore that. The movie makes you aware pretty early on of exactly what it's trying to say, what the themes are. This is about generational trauma, how our parents' traumas sort of become our own and are transferred to us like a disease. And it also kind of explores parenthood as a whole and how important it is to have a paternal figure in the household. There's nothing immediately wrong with a film wearing its themes on its sleeve, but the pacing of this one is unfathomably slow. It's a 2-hour movie, and so much of those 2 hours is spent in quiet solitude with nothing to keep the viewer engaged beyond the lullaby of tree branches swaying and cabin floorboards creaking. Internally, I just found myself begging for Lewis to give these characters a chance to express themselves and actually give us some substance. I'm not interested in watching Daniel Day-Lewis cook soup or pace around his cabin with a pickaxe or a shovel. I want to watch him emote, give him some speaking lines. And sometimes we are granted the privilege of watching him do what he does best. There's one monologue towards the end of the film in which he recounts a war story that I thought was pretty moving. But there's a significant lack of depth beyond the basic themes that it shoves in your face. At least Lewis Sr. gets some moments to shine. I feel like this movie completely wastes Samantha Morton and Sean Bean, both of whom have delivered excellent performances in the past, but they're given nothing to chew on in this. I mean, good for Daniel Day-Lewis for helping his son make the most of his debut, I guess, but all I could think about while watching this is all of the other films that could have been festival selections and gotten picked up by studios instead of this, which, when you think about it, it probably only got funded and got the cast that it received because of nepotism, which continues to be a disease in Hollywood that just won't stop. Now, I'm not arrogant enough to say that because I didn't like the movie, that it didn't deserve to get made and showed to the public, but just from my personal perspective, I feel that nepotism gave this movie a leg up that it doesn't deserve. It really is that bad. Maybe I'll catch some criticism for saying this, but I just can't justify giving Anemone higher than 1.5 stars. It just kind of plods its way through scenic shots, occasionally giving Sean Bean and Day-Lewis conversations that most of the time don't feel fulfilling because it's like it's holding the meat of the story at arm's length and doesn't want to engage with it until like the final 30 minutes. There's a point in the third act in which it goes into some existentialism that gave me David Lynch vibes, and I wish there was more of that. Just give me something good to say about this movie because it really doesn't feel good talking so negatively about it. I was really excited for it, but unfortunately, this is one of the biggest duds of the year for me. So those are my thoughts on Anemone. I hope you enjoyed this review, and if you did catch the film, be sure to drop down into the comments and let me know what your thoughts are. If you like this movie and you disagree with me, let me know why. I'm very curious to see what people enjoy about this that I'm missing. I have no idea if this signifies a return for Daniel Day-Lewis or if he was just kind of helping his son out, kickstart his career and whatnot. I'm really hoping for the former because I'd love to see him get back into it. But this is where I'm going to wrap things up. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Be sure to hit that like button and subscribe before you take off. I'll catch you all in the next one. See you later.